Men, are you experiencing any of the following things? Problems with foggy thinking, memory issues, fatigue, kind of lost your pep or feel like you've lost that competitive edge and motivation? If any of those things go along with an increase of fat and a decrease in lean body mass, you should watch the Dr. Heidi Show, where we will start talking about some hormone deregulation issues, and especially testosterone. And women, there is also some good important information for you on testosterone. So tune in to the Dr. Heidi Show. Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today. I'm Dr. Heidi Cook, and this is the Dr. Heidi Show. On the last couple of shows, we have been talking about aging and the different processes that speed up aging and contribute to some of the chronic illnesses and diseases we see as we do age. Some of those processes are oxidation, glycation, methylation, chronic inflammation, and hormone deregulation. So today I'd like to focus on that last one, hormone deregulation. So in the human body, there are many, many different kinds of hormones, and they all are doing their own independent thing. It's often referred to as a hormonal orchestra. So you have all your hormones working, doing their own thing, but they do interact a little bit, and when they're all working efficiently and optimally, they create a perfectly running organism. So it's often referred to as a hormonal orchestra. So today I want to take a look at one hormone in particular, and that is testosterone. So today's discussion will be aimed very much towards the males, but also women. There is some issues with low testosterone in women, so we will touch a little bit on that too. So before we get to that, I want you guys to go check out Sam and Gabe's restaurant. They are on Hickman Road in Urbandale, open for dinner, and they have free entertainment, free music on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, along with a great brunch on Sunday mornings starting at 10:30 and going till 2. Also, they are going to be opening up a second location down in the East Village. So go see them at samandgabes.com. Check them out on Hickman Road now and soon to be in the East Village. And we'll be right back. So let's get started talking about hormones. So when we are young, when we are youthful, that is when we are at our healthiest. And then as the years go by and we age, that's when the chronic illnesses and chronic diseases come in. Doctors and scientists have looked at various things of what contributes to this onset of chronic illness and aging, and one of the biggest things that they have found is that hormones play a significant role. We have many, many different hormones, and some of them are very common that most people would recognize. There are estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol. There's also thyroid hormones, parathyroid, erythropoietin, glucagon, insulin, melatonin. So there's many, many different hormones, and they have so many functions in our body, from healing injuries to fighting infections. They maintain our bone, they maintain our muscle, they control blood glucose, they control how your body uses fuel and how you regulate your temperature. And they also contribute to growth, taking you from an infant to an adult, taking you through puberty. So there are hormones that are doing many, many different jobs. So today, what's important is that if you have, for a cell to work optimally, for every cell in your body to work optimally, your hormone levels have to be perfect. And so to be as healthy as we can be, we really need to pay attention to any hormone deregulation. So what slows down hormone function? As we age, we definitely have a slowdown, so aging contributes to it. Also, illness, any chronic illness will decrease your hormone output. In addition to that, stress is a huge one. Stress can really interfere with all of the testosterone, estrogen, progesterone production. Also nutritional deficiencies. So there's lots of different things that contribute to our hormones falling. In women, this hormone drop is usually very bold, very kind of in your face. And when you go through menopause, you can be fine one day and a week later have hot flashes, night sweats, memory issues. In men, it's a little bit more insidious. It creeps in a little bit more, and their drop is slower and can really come in over a 10 to 15 year period. So it's not as obvious in men, but something that still we need to take a look at. So testosterone. Testosterone is what we consider a steroid hormone. Basically what that means is all steroid hormones start from cholesterol. So you don't want to have a high cholesterol, but it's also not healthy to have an extremely low cholesterol because you're not going to be making all those steroid hormones. The steroid hormones it's a whole cascade of reactions, and each reaction requires enzymes and requires different nutrients. And the other steroid hormones are estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, just to name a few there. So testosterone is what we consider an anabolic hormone. Anabolic means it builds things up. So it promotes bone formation, it promotes muscle formation, it gives you lean body mass, it gives you energy, it works with cognition, along with all of the erectile dysfunction and the sexual issues that testosterone deals with. So if you have low testosterone, what are you experiencing? So a lot of people will go in, males will go in and describe, I have no energy, I have no pep, I'm fatigued, I've lost my edge. That's one that I heard all the time was I feel like I lost my competitive edge. They don't feel like their efforts in the gym are contributing as they used to, meaning more fat, less lean body mass. Testosterone can give you that sense of well-being. So if you are low, more depression, more low mood, and then it also deals with the erectile dysfunction. So with women can also have low testosterone. Women make 50% of their testosterone in their ovaries and 50% in their adrenal glands. What women experience typically is that fatigue, but in women, libido and testosterone are very highly connected. In addition to that, if their testosterone is low, they have problems losing weight, they have memory issues, and just overall low energy and anxiety and some mood issues. So testosterone plays some significant roles in both men and women. So how testosterone is part of the hypothalamus pituitary axis. So what that means, the hypothalamus and the pituitary are in your brain, and they monitor and control the level of testosterone. The hypothalamus sees how much testosterone is circulating. If it needs more, it tells the pituitary, and the pituitary will signal the testicles to make more testosterone. So that's kind of the cascade there. Because of that cascade, there are 3 ways that men can become low in testosterone. Primary is when the cells aren't making enough testosterone. Secondary is when the brain is not signaling the cells to make testosterone. And the third way is if the testosterone is converted to estrogen in a male's body. And that is that's part of the whole cascade of the steroid hormones. So some of the testosterone will always go into estrogen. That reaction requires or uses an enzyme called aromatase. So in a male, you don't want to have 0 testosterone because it does some good things in a male's body. Namely, you have estrogen receptors on your brain. So if there is nothing connecting with these receptors on your brain, that's when men get foggy thinking, decreased concentration, less focus. Estrogen also helps maintain bone mass, and it also has a role in erectile dysfunction. So you don't want to be in a state of total deficiency as far as estrogen. But when you have too much estrogen, it does a couple of things. The big thing is estrogen will knock testosterone off its receptor, and therefore you get yourself into a low testosterone state just because it's been kicked off. So what things increase estrogen in males? There are such things as zinc deficiency, so nutritional deficiencies. Zinc inhibits that enzyme aromatase. So if you are low in zinc, there's no inhibition of that aromatase, and so therefore that testosterone to estrogen reaction is going full go. Also, obesity. Estrogen is held in fat cells, aromatase is held in fat cells. So obesity, you have more aromatase, and that reaction is really going. In addition to that, alcohol will increase that reaction, along with some prescription medications, such as diuretics, which people are on for high blood pressure. All of those things increase estrogen in the male's body. So lots of lifestyle things that you can see there that we can do to decrease that natural testosterone to estrogen reaction, so we don't have that testosterone getting kicked off and we still have testosterone working well in our body. So when we come back from break, we will get into how we test for testosterone, and if treatment is necessary, what things we can do to treat it. Welcome back. So let's get talking about how we can test for testosterone levels and what we're actually looking for. So if a male goes to the doctor and has certain complaints that seem like it may be a low testosterone problem, a doctor will order some labs. Now, typically hormones can be measured in blood, in saliva, and sometimes in urine, and it depends on what hormone you're looking at, if they're on any different medications, as to what that doctor will choose. What they will want to look at is they will get a total testosterone level. So that is obviously everything that is in the body, a total level. Now that total testosterone is made up of two different things. It is made up of bound testosterone, and it is made up of unbound, or what we call free testosterone. Now, in the male body, typically 97 to 98% is bound testosterone. Free testosterone, therefore, is about 2 to 3%. Interestingly, though, it is the free testosterone that is doing all of the work and keeping all of those reactions working. So when you have bound testosterone, what is it bound to? It's usually bound to a protein, and the most common protein that it is bound to is called sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBG. So that's an interesting level too. You kind of want to know what your level of SHBG is, because that is what is keeping your testosterone from being free and from really circulating and working for you. So what things increase SHBG in the body? Namely two. One is aging. Just simply as you age, your SHBG will double. The other one is, interestingly, estrogen. If you have a higher estrogen level, you will have a higher SHBG level. Now, so then you go back to what is it that is increasing your estrogen, and you're back to the nutritional deficiencies such as zinc, the obesity, alcohol, prescription medications. So definitely some lifestyle things that you can do to decrease estrogen, which will therefore decrease the binding globulin that is keeping the testosterone from doing its work. Also, so when you have your labs drawn, the physician will typically look at a total testosterone. They'll look at a free testosterone, the level of SHBG, and also estradiol or an estrogen level. Those are all important because you can see it's one big complex picture here. They also will typically look at LH and FSH, which are the hormones from the brain which are released when the testosterone level is low. So there are typically those, plus maybe some more labs that the doctor will initially get. Then it depends, not everybody who has low testosterone will need testosterone therapy. If they make the lifestyle modifications, that may be all good. Now, when you are undergoing testosterone therapy, the doctor is aiming to get you back to a physiologic level. Now, typically they're aiming for something around what your testosterone level was between 25, 35. They're not aiming for high levels or anything out of the ordinary of what your body typically can make on its own. So the different forms of testosterone there's 5 different forms. One is oral testosterone, which straight off the bat, capsules, tablets, you don't want to take those. Those wreak havoc with your liver, cause liver issues, and aren't used hardly at all anymore. Now another form, which has been around a very long time and used to be the mainstay, are the injectable forms of testosterone. Now the injectable forms, there's several different types of testosterone that can be used. Depending on the type, determines how often you would need the injection. Typically it's every 2 weeks, but depending, it could be every week, it could even be up to every 4 weeks. Now, pros and cons. The pros with the injections is you get your injection and you can forget about it until your next injection, whether that's 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. The cons are it's a needle, so if that is an issue for you, that is definitely a con. Also, it creates a supraphysiologic level in your system for a brief time, meaning once you get that injection, depending on the form, 2 to 5 days later, your testosterone level is very high, much higher than what your body makes on its own. Then over the next week or two, depending on what form you use, that testosterone gradually bottoms out. So you have big swoops. So definitely does not mimic the normal testosterone release from the body. So that is the injections. Another form that is now the mainstay are the topical testosterone formulations. Now this can be creams and gels. From the pharmacy, this is kind of your androgel type thing. What I had prescribed mostly was compounded, so compounded very specifically for that person. The creams are nice. You do have to apply them daily. They absorb very well, and typically once or twice a day is when you need to use them. It is within 24 hours you can get a steady state into a bloodstream, and it really is kind of mimics the natural testosterone very accurately. The downside of them is the daily application for some, and also once you have that cream on, you want to the risk of transferring it to someone else. If you hugged them, if you shook their hand, that's something you have to be careful of for the first 20 to 30 minutes. Another form are kind of the lozenges or troches, which are they look like little wax squares that you just put in the cheek, basically between your gum and your cheek. They naturally absorb into the saliva without swallowing them. Those are easy to use. They are short acting, so typically have to do it 2 or 3 times a day. I had a farmer who didn't like the cream, got dusty, sweaty, and preferred the lozenges. So that's another form. And lastly, there are pellets. So pellets are something that is through a little incision. A certain number of testosterone pellets are placed under the skin, and they, over 3 to 4 months, release a very slow release of testosterone. Therefore, they are very convenient. There is not huge swoops like the injections. The downside is it's a little bit of an incision, so a little bit of a procedure that has to be done every 3 to 4 months. The risk of infection, And also, once a pellet is in there, you can't go take it out. So if there is any issues, you have to live it out for the next 3 to 4 months until it just wears off. So the risks of being on therapy with testosterone are an increase in acne. It decreases sperm production, and it can cause some aggression if you get the level too high. And then there's also mixed reports on heart problems. Some studies show a risk for heart issues, some show it's protective, so really can't say either way on that. Now, the other issue I wanted to comment on is for many, many years, the medical world thought that testosterone caused prostate cancer. Now, recently, over the last decade, there has been more and more studies that show that that does not seem to be the case. And actually now, the risk of prostate cancer is being linked to low testosterone. Dr. Morgentaler is a Harvard-based urologist who even back in 2004 had an article in the New England Journal of Medicine which showed that there was no compelling evidence of testosterone causing prostate cancer. And since that time, there have been more and more articles that have come out according to on that line. So if testosterone or any of those symptoms of testosterone seem to be an issue, certainly take a look, kind of study up, ask your doctor some good questions. It is definitely a conversation that needs to be had between a patient and doctor to know exactly which way you want to go and if it is an issue for you.